In an interview with Good Morning Namibia, Feilmeier says he turned defeat against a fellow learner in a past exam to revenge, arming himself to ensure he secures the number one spot in the country.
There were four sources of fuel for that fire, right?
Okay.
So the first source was just because I didn't come first last time. I was fifth. I was this close, just a little bit more, and I would have been there.
In the ordinary level examinations.
Yeah, NSSCO, yes.
Yeah,
and
okay.
so I was fifth there, and I didn't like it at all. I wanted to be first, so I said no, not again. I wasn't going to be fifth, fourth, third, or definitely not second, but first.
Yeah.
I also said that in the Republican, so I kind of had a promise to fulfill. Anyway. The second source was someone in my school, a colleague of mine, who is Carla de Christa Mahoro, 6th position this year. And she was an absolute, I like to say threat, but in a very respectful manner, because as much as I respect her, also shout out to her because, wow,
Did she give you competition?
Not just competition, she actually beat me in several subjects and overall in the first semester. She had one less subject than me. And she didn't have English, and English is a dragger, you know. But yeah, sure. And the fourth reason was actually, a couple of private scholars at the NSSCO announcements last year, that two of whom beat me, and they actually made fun of Delta. They mocked Delta, and I didn't take it lightly.
Okay.
And that was actually, every time I remember that, I'm like, no.
You need to show them.
Exactly, yeah. This time it's going to happen, and two of them didn't show up at all this time.
It took practice and multiple sources of study material, he says, to succeed. Feilmeier says one must practice to understand a subject more than simply knowing about it.
Now, I watch this video, I go do the exercise and I can do it. But that's not the way, especially for mathematics or physics, where you have to understand. You can't just, it's not just knowing something, it's understanding something. So you watch the video, you take understanding from it, and you go try the exercises. You may not do it first try, but you may do it on the second, third, fourth, fifth attempt, You just have to, that's my next point, you just have to practice and practice and practice until you actually have it perfected.
As for his views on the new curriculum,
of course, is contributing factor as well, because if you look at the jump between NSSCO and NSSCAS, there is a huge gap.
Is it?
Right? There is, and you have to have a D, only a D in NSSCO to get to AS level. If I look at that,
isn't it a C?
I think they changed it to a D, didn't they? Well, I had the marks. So
okay.
I didn't really.
All right.
check. But sure. Let's say C even, right?
Yeah.
So we all kind of know that the marks in NSSCO, a C isn't necessarily 60%, right? It can be a bit lower. So let's say a C is 50%, right? So 50% of the work in grade 11. Now you have to jump to grade 12, AS, with all this complex stuff. Computer science as well, mathematics, physics, chemistry, everything is just so much more detailed, and understanding based. And now you have to take your 50% basic knowledge, if you will, and somehow get to the same 50% in this advanced syllabus.
Yeah.
So it's expected that you drop two symbols. If you have a C, you suddenly have an E.